What's up, everybody? It's your boy C Sams, and this is That Comic Show. On today's episode of Evolution of a Character, we're going to actually take a look at the Norse god of thunder, Thor. God of thunder, Odin's son, strongest event. Wait, no, he's not strongest Avenger. Oh, yeah, that's right. Point Break. We're actually going to take a look at Point Break. Now, we're going to take a look at Thor, the god of thunder, and his evolution as a character. His character has evolved over time. From the first time we saw him in the first Thor, he was an arrogant, pompous young man, thinking he had all the power in the world, thinking that he knew everything, and he was put in his place. And now we see him as a broken man who lost everything that he once had and a bloodlust to kill and destroy Thanos. So we're going to take a look at the evolution of his character. 1500 years ago, Thor was born into the universe. He is the son of Frigga and Odin. Odin is known as the All-Father, the king of Asgard, ruler of the 9 realms, protector of the 9 realms. That is who he is. We see Thor becoming a king in the beginning of Thor, the first Thor. We see him walking up, we see him arrogant and pompous, and his father is looking at him and saying he needs to be taught a lesson of humility. So this whole thing goes down with him and the Frost Giants, and Odin sends Thor to Earth and takes Mjolnir, his hammer, his trusted hammer, away from him. And to make it even more impactful, he sent Mjolnir to Earth. And we see Thor goes through this whole story arc in order to find Mjolnir. He gets Mjolnir and he cannot pick up Mjolnir. What a way to send that shock through his system. And he goes through this entire story arc where he has to be deemed worthy to wield Mjolnir while he defeats his brother Loki. We see him in Avengers. In Avengers, he's more of a visitor interacting with all of the other Avengers. He's actually talking to them, he's combating with them, and he's there to bring Loki to justice for the crimes that Loki has committed against the 9 realms. In this whole entire thing, he becomes friends with everybody among the Avengers. He fights the Hulk. He has a certain respect for Captain America, and he kind of has a respect for Iron Man. We see a great connection and continuity between these characters. In Thor 2, we see him step to the plate when it comes to dealing with the Dark Elves. Now, the Dark Elves tries to get the Ether, the Reality Stone, to change reality, and Thor steps in and he stops him from doing this. While this is all happening, he actually gets tremendous shock to his system and a loss by losing his mother in the process, and supposedly losing Loki as well. During all of this, he begins to lose a lot of people in his life. This kind of kicked it off. When he thought that he lost his mother and his brother, he had no reason not to go after Malekith and destroy Malekith. He fought up against him and he was able to be victorious. But guess what happened at the end? Loki was actually still here. And because Loki was still here, he was posing as Odin, and because of the fact that he was posing as Odin, Thor thought he was talking to Odin when he turned down the throne. He'd rather stay on Earth and stay close to the ground as opposed to being king. He said that he would never understand that quite yet, like his brother Loki understood it. So he left Asgard. Now we see him in Avengers 2, Age of Ultron, and he's just basically being the voice of reason and also being a little bit frustrated that they have to go through the same process, allocating the stone against from Loki's staff. Clearly this was going on and this was an issue that they were having, and he showed himself to be a great leader. You're seeing some of the development in his character. He's becoming more of a king, more of a leader in the sense. We also see in Age of Ultron where Thor actually sees the end of Asgard or Ragnarok, and he gets a glimpse of what is to come. He gets a glimpse of someone being the person orchestrating all of these things that are happening in the universe, and it looks as though that he sees Thanos, or he sees the Infinity Gauntlet. So he has an idea of what's going on. So while Civil War is happening, he's out there in the universe. Now Thor Ragnarok, we see Thor going all the way to hell to meet up with Surtur during this entire search. And all these things are happening, and he is becoming more and more of a hero among the 9 realms. Unfortunately, he loses his father during the process. He loses a lot of people during the process of him being that hero of Asgard. He ends up fighting his sister Hela and defeating Hela, but while defeating Hela, he taps into his true power. He taps into the Thor rage and he becomes all powerful. He is finally made it to where he needed to be when it comes to his power and when it comes to where he needs to be as it relates to his power. As a result, we see a change from the pompous, arrogant young man that we saw in Thor, the first Thor, and we now see Thor Ragnarok show a Thor that is totally different from the Thor we saw before. Clearly there is a change in his character. He has become a man right before our eyes. And at the end of, well, spoiler alert, at the end of Avengers Infinity War, he is the all-powerful hero that comes to save the day. Well, at least he thought he saved the day. So, as we can see with the development of Thor in all of these movies, he has lost people along the way. He has also learned valuable lessons of him being a strong, valiant warrior and him stepping up and not being afraid and not being scared to show his power. And that's pretty much it. Thor is definitely an Avenger of all time. And according to the system, he's still going to be Point Break and not the strongest Avenger. This was Evolutions of a Character. And this is That Comic Show. This was your boy Sam's out.